My friends, welcome to the number 80th SongBike Guitar Q&A live stream. How are you? Hope you had a great week. A little snow here in Connecticut, but you can't complain. I'm here for your questions. In between your questions, we got plenty to talk about, but please ask me a question. Go ahead, put some question marks in advance of your guitar-related question. That's how I know your question is aimed at me. And I see a bunch of people in the chat already. We have a poll up and running. I got a bunch of topics to fill in the time in between our lessons, in between our questions. I have some lessons to teach you. Little segment I like to call a lesson you'll never forget. Lots to do today. So I'm happy to see all those happy names in the chat. Rock Lobster, William Collier, Randy, Chaz, Scott, Matt. Hey, you guys. If you are watching but you're not in the chat, that's okay. Thanks for being here. If you're watching this after the fact, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, thanks for watching. Okay, my friends, so let's get into the poll question of the week. I'm kind of curious about this. The poll question is, would you consider buying an instrument less expensive than the instrument you already have? Answers include, sure, because maybe there's something special about it. Maybe it's a red electric guitar and you're currently playing a wooden acoustic guitar and you want a red electric guitar. It happens to be less expensive. That's great, whatever. It's fine. Some of you might say, no, wait a minute. I only want to get higher and higher quality instruments, which are bound to cost more money. You have a path you're on. I get that. Some of you might say, I'm a collector. So if I see something I like and it's blue, I'm going to get it. If I see something I don't have in my collection, I'm going to get it. And the exact price is neither here nor there. And then, of course, we have the fourth option, other. All right, so jump into that poll and let me know what's on your mind. In between your questions, lots to share with you this week. Of course, I have my own dumb question. I ask it so you don't have to. We got a good dumb question this week. We have a good student quote of the week. Our weekly play along song. We got a good one this week. One of my favorites. Some more lessons you'll never forget, both from the free blues guide book right there, and also one more from 60-year-old guitar instructional book from 1964. I want to show you another page from that book, something very cool. Let's see, what else we have going on? I want to talk about rhythm, railroad rhythm on the guitar versus other kind of rhythms. I want to show you some physical stuff, but also share a theory with you about how rhythm in popular music has changed over the decades. Guitars are adjustable. You know that, right? Every once in a while, I want to remind you about this topic, that your guitar, doesn't matter what size or shape, your guitar is adjustable, and we all need to remember that. I'll tell you more. What else? We got our weekly topic, should I sell out? Oh, I got some good offers this week. Very amusing stuff. Who's in town? It has some interesting folks coming through the theater across the street. I think you'll get a kick out of who's coming through town. I have links to YouTube videos for each one of the people who are coming through town. You ever dream of opening for a major headlining act? I want to talk to you about opening for Buddy Guy, blues icon Buddy Guy. We'll get into that a little bit this week. Anybody watch the Golden Globes last week? Best song winner. I don't want to say I predicted it, but of the songs that were up for Golden Globes for best original song, the one that got it, I think, was the one that should have got it. I take a little bit of pride in that. I don't know why. It just made me feel good. Like, yeah, that was the most interesting, I thought, most creative song of the bunch. What else? Merch. You want a shirt? Yeah. Who did I see? Rock Lobster says his shirt just arrived. You are team. He says, I'm team SongBike. All right. Drop a few song bucks and you too can have a SongBike t-shirt, baseball hat. I'll share that link, but it's in the description of this video as well. So those are some of the topics we're going to get into this week. But again, I am here for your questions. You ever want to ask a guitar teacher a question? Why not tonight? Why not now? Hey, by the way, some of you watching right now are watching for the first time. Maybe your schedule allowed you to watch tonight, but you can't usually watch on a Saturday, but now you can. So welcome. Those of you watching for the very first time, Welcome. Let's have some fun. We're going to be here for a little while. Let's have some fun. Kick your shoes off. Okay. So, I see a bunch of comments in the chat about people talking about different things that they have purchased, including less expensive stuff. You know, people say, hey, you know, I had this guitar and that guitar, but I also wanted this guitar and have it less expensive. Connor's pointing out that I have 200,000 subscribers. I do, right? Whoa, that's a big number, man. I don't know. I don't know what it means, but that's a big number. I agree. You know what? Between you and me, sometimes I get a little heartbroken because I'll be doing a deep dive on YouTube and I'll find some super talented people, like some of the people we're going to talk about tonight, some just fantastic musicians from around the globe. And I'll see their YouTube channel has like 1,500 subscribers. And let me tell you, I can't even describe the disconnect in my mind between some people having a lot of subscribers and some super talented people having less. It's just a weird thing. It's just a weird thing for my brain to process, you know? Okay, let's have some fun. My friends, what I'm going to pull up here is, let's get started with this page from, there we go. I'm going to make it just right. Okay, Jetstream. There we go. A page from this guitar book from 60 years ago. It's possible. Your screen will go black for a minute. Do not panic. We are about to check out this page from the book entitled Teenage Guitar by Roger Filiberto, right? 1964, cost $1.25 back then, about 10 times that if you adjust for inflation, right? Okay, so check this out. This is the third page we've looked at from this book. If you went back in time to 1964, it's possible your teacher would have grabbed this book. They would have looked at you as maybe a teenager in 1964 and said, I want this kid to keep taking lessons. Instead of teaching them classical music, maybe something else, I'm going to teach them some of this rock and roll stuff. So check this out, Jetstream. Notice they describe it, the subtitle sort of is movable rock and roll pattern. What does it sound like? See that? What do you think? Would that have grabbed you back in 1964? It's a G riff, right? A G major riff based on the 6th string, middle finger. It's in a 12-bar blues format. Like I think the other stuff we've seen in the book also share this 12-bar blues format. After 4 measures of the G riff, your fretting hand drops down a string onto the A string 3rd fret. A C version of the same riff. I'm squinting at the same screen you're squinting at. You know what? I'm going to actually look at the actual book. And here comes, they're labeling this measure D7. It's just a D riff. The bottom line back to the C riff. And then the G riff. A very modest little ending there, a couple of G notes. Pretty straightforward, right? I don't know, man. If I were a teenager back in 1964, I think I would get into that. A couple of things to point out. Using the spaces to represent the guitar strings, 6 spaces, as opposed to having each line literally represent the guitar string. We've talked about that before. Hey, did you notice? I'm going to use my cursor. I don't know if you can see this or if you use my cursor. See up at the top, the very first riff, those symbols, that boxy symbol, I bet you know that means pluck down with your pick. That's kind of interesting. So they're encouraging the student to play this all with down strokes. That's going to create a more driving, powerful, consistent sound. Right? Down strokes have that effect. You know, I'm big on pushing people to do down ups. But hey, there's a time and a place to do all down strokes, you know, sometimes if you want that, if you want that feel. Okay, so there you have it. Basically it's page 3 in the book. Jetstream. If I had to describe this in a nutshell, it's a 12-bar blues form where each chord is being reflected by a very specific riff, right? The first riff reflects a G chord. Later on, the next riff reflects a C chord, and so on. Another way to put that is if someone were strumming a G chord quietly in the background, it would fit perfectly with the riff he's having you play right there, right? Yeah, not bad, right? Not bad. And now I'm going to scroll up just a tiny bit because there's a super valuable thing at the bottom. Look at that at the bottom. It says, this is a movable pattern practice in all keys as indicated in the chart below. So what is he talking about? You guys know what he's talking about right there? He's saying you're not done just because you finished the page. You're not done, not by a long shot. Move the very first note of the whole thing up to the 4th fret. And now instead of playing in the key of G, you'll be playing in the key of A flat. So he's saying, hey, look, he wants you to play it, what, a total of 9 different ways? 9 different ways. Does that make sense? You can see what I'm saying? He wants you to essentially memorize the song, memorize the riff, and then move the whole thing up 1 fret at a time, you know? Now that's super important. I can imagine some kid kind of groaning like, do I have to do that again? Yeah, man. Yeah, that's how you really get something into your muscle memory forever and ever and ever. So you guys know what I'm talking about, right? So instead of moving up 1 fret, you know, and then the next riff would also be moved up 1 fret and so on. So essentially you play this page at first with your middle finger on the 6th string 3rd fret, but you'd work your way up until the last one he indicates there, middle finger on the 11th fret, playing the key of E flat. You know what that tells me, by the way? If he's asking your hand to go way up to that high position, the author of this book had every reason to think people would be using this book on electric guitar. Why? Because acoustic guitar, I mean, I know it's playable up there, but it gets kind of awkward up there, 10, 11, 12, 13, right? So my guess is that the author of this book had a strong feeling that it would be young people with electric guitars grabbing this book, working on it either with a teacher on their own. And so that's why he's having them go up so high like that. Not just a guess, but it makes sense, right? The book's called Teenage Guitar. I can't tell you how much I love this cover. I want to write a book and just so I can, have a similar cover. It'd be like an homage to Teenage Guitar. How about Old Age Guitar? That's a book. I would read that book, Old Age Guitar. That's a good project for this year, Old Age Guitar. If the book was called Old Age Guitar, what should the pictures be like? We'd have to tweak the pictures. I'm going to stop sharing this, okay, you guys? If for Old Age Guitar, I'd have to find a good illustrator to maybe that we'd adjust the pictures a little bit. Old Age Guitar. There you go. Okay, so there's a lesson you never forget. I love this. Again, that book was a very thoughtful gift from one of my current in-person guitar students because he knew I get a kick out of early guitar books. And again, I haven't found an earlier publication that is directly relating to popular music, essentially bluesy, rock and roll, R&B. I haven't seen an earlier book than that one. Getting some good feedback. Randy and William, you guys are saying, I would definitely buy the Old Age Guitar book. Yeah. Randy says, I'd buy it, wear my glasses. Yeah. Yeah. So both the people on the cover, they'd be wearing glasses, they'd be sitting down. I'll tell you that. They'd be sitting down. And yeah. Someday. It's a great idea. Old Age Guitar. All right, you get the idea. Hey, don't be shy, my friends. If you have a question, please don't be shy. Go ahead and put it in the chat. I have a dumb question for you. Tell you what, I'll go first. I'll ask the dumb question so you don't have to. Here's my dumb question of the week. Can't you just use special effects to make your electric guitar sound like an acoustic guitar and make your acoustic guitar sound like an electric guitar? if you have an acoustic electric, like I know a lot of you do, you just plug it in, right? But plug it into one of those cool little effects and make it sound like electric guitar, right? You don't have to buy electric guitar. Why can't you just use a special effect and you're all set, right? And they exist. Certainly acoustic simulators, one of those effects pedals, you plug your electric guitar into it, and what comes out the other end is a much more acoustic sound. Well, why not just use that? You don't have to buy an acoustic guitar, do you? And same thing, once your acoustic guitar is an acoustic electric and you can plug it in, you guys know there's a million effects. I mean, isn't there one that just basically can make it sound like an electric guitar? Kind of a dumb question, but the technology exists, right? So why even buy another guitar? It's a dumb question. I don't know. I can tell you what you're missing, so to speak. Say you received an acoustic simulator pedal, effects pedal, and you plug your electric guitar in and you're like, ooh, it's getting a different sound, more of a wooden, full-bodied, warm sound. Like, hey, well, there's my acoustic sound. You're missing out on that vibration of the extremely thin piece or pieces of wood that are vibrating in your arms when you strum an acoustic guitar, right? That, let's face it, an electric guitar just doesn't do that. It does a lot of things. It doesn't vibrate in your arms like a living thing practically, right? So it'd be kind of sad if someone never experienced strumming a big E major chord on an acoustic guitar, right? It'd be kind of a shame. Could you make your electric guitar sound a lot like an acoustic guitar with some processing? Sure, you could. Okay, vice versa. You got an acoustic electric, you can plug it into an amp, it sounds nice and full and loud, and someone gives you a distortion pedal, someone gives you a fuzz pedal or other special effects, or maybe a processor that has 40 built-in sounds. Okay, now your acoustic guitar sounds like an electric, right? It does. I'll tell you what, though, there are certain things that just feel better on electric. Electric guitars, most of the time, have a much skinnier neck, not as wide, not as fat. The strings typically are thinner. The strings are typically easier to press down. There's certain things that just make more sense. Make more sense on electric. You can do it on an acoustic guitar. Once you do it on an electric guitar, it's hard to go back to doing it on acoustic. There's certain things, rock and roll things, string bending things. There are things that just feel easier, better, more natural on electric guitar. So you can make your acoustic guitar produce an electric tone, but there's certain things that just feel so right on an electric guitar. So I'm not telling you guys you have to go buy a second or third or fourth instrument. Six String Greg, for example, says, I have no interest in electric guitars. I like the sound of an acoustic guitar. Perfect, right? There's nothing like it. This, not just the sound, but like I said, the feel of it, humming right there on your lap. It's a beautiful thing. Harrison says, part of my goal in getting better is so I can feel like I've earned it when you buy another guitar. Yeah, Harrison, that's a good point. I've been there, man. I had an acoustic guitar, but I really wanted a Martin. And I thought, I'm not going to get a Martin until I've learned how to finger pick, man. And it actually did work out that way chronologically. I also got a little college graduation money. Thanks, Mom and Dad. And that helped pay for the Martin. But technically I had, gotten pretty decent at basic finger picking. So technically it worked out. So that's the dumb question of the week. Can't you just make one guitar sound like the other? You kind of can. The feel is different. The vibe is just different, Speaking of buying a guitar that maybe isn't so expensive, Randy says, I actually just bought a Squier Affinity Telecaster for $250. I love it, he says. Yeah. Scott Rhodes says, I want to expand my tonal palette. Tonal, T-O-N-A-L, tonal palette. With something I'll enjoy, but might not use it all the time, but it expands the sounds you can make. Yeah, that makes sense. You want to have that option. you know, for the fun of it. It's fun, right? I mean, that's one way to describe it. It's just fun. It's fun to have different sounds. It's expensive. So, you know, you got to watch it. But what we're talking about is this poll question tonight of, would you consider buying an instrument that's less expensive than the instrument you already own? And yeah, I'm curious to what you guys think. And there's plenty of room for a variety of opinions. Six String Greg says, I'm late. I'll get a note from my doctor. Nah, not necessary. Not necessary. I'm the doctor. I say you're right on time. You know, Scott says, I'm playing the guitar I bought after 9 months of lessons. Yeah, why not? Set a goal for yourself. You know, it's a great reward. What's better than treating yourself to something new, something different, something special? This curtain's gonna bug me. Doesn't bug me anymore. There we go. So yeah, my dumb question. I ask it so you don't have to. I'm looking for my cool red pen. There's my red pen. All right. I got a student quote of the week that you guys might get a kick out of. Very often in lessons, I will say to a student, hey, that thing you're playing, you know, you're going to impress people by playing that. The context, I think, was either the song Dust in the Wind or some similar song where as soon as you start playing it, everyone recognizes, oh, that's Dust in the Wind. And it's a kind of finger picking tune that it sounds pretty impressive. I mean, it sounds like, wow, it's so pretty, right? Dust in the Wind. And I think I said to my student, you know, we're going to learn the entire song, but believe me, you're going to impress people after the first 5 seconds. They don't need to hear you play the whole tune to form an opinion about how good a guitar player you are. I said, you'll impress them just after a little bit. And she said something interesting. She said, actually, I want to impress myself. I thought, ooh, I like that. You know, I mean, right? You see where she's coming from? You know, if you can impress yourself, it doesn't get any better than that. You've got it. You've got it, you know. Of course, we all want to impress our friends and neighbors, loved ones. But yeah, I liked her attitude. She said, I want to impress myself. I like that. One stop along that path of ultimately impressing yourself is to record yourself. My feeling, my hope is that when you record yourself, even if you feel like you're not ready to record yourself, you will hear the good and the bad. Of course, you're going to hear little mistakes. Of course, you're going to hear those moments where you hesitate before you change chords or whatever. It's extremely likely, and I definitely want it to be likely, that a couple things you do on the recording are going to impress yourself. They're going to be better than you thought they were going to be. I doubt that all my students record themselves. I tell just about everybody to record themselves, but it's tough, right? Because you don't want to hear how you sound because you know you're not there yet. I get it. I'm just saying, give yourself a break, record yourself, and I bet some of it sounds better than you thought it was going to sound. Results may vary. I get it. I know. But you can start impressing yourself. When you listen to a recording of yourself, you're more objective, right? And of course, you hear the mistakes. I know. When you're playing, you're not objective. You make a mistake, then all you can think about is that mistake. It's totally possible you're not hearing the good stuff. You're not hearing the parts that are flowing. Or even if you are, you're still thinking about that mistake you just made. You're kicking yourself. You're beating yourself up. Harrison says a lot of the time, Harrison says, it sounds better than I thought. Yeah, Harrison. So you do record yourself. Highly recommend it. We all have little recording apps in our phones of some kind. Yeah, do it. Anyways, that's the student quote of the week. I want to impress myself. Yeah, I like that. Every once in a while, one of my in-person students will say something that's such a cool quote. I'll think, do they know I do this quote of the week thing? Like, are they, are they aiming to be the student quote of the week person? I don't think all my in-person students, I don't think they all know that I do this thing. They should, right? I know I should tell every one of them, hey, Saturday night, you got to tune in. I think a lot of them know, not all. Some of them are here in the chat, I know. So, hey, Scott, I see your question. Scott says, can you mix standard tuned and alternate tuned guitars in the same song? Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. And it's a great and very creative idea. An example of how you could do it would be write a song in the key of G. So you want some G chords, some C chords, and some D chords, G, C, and D, right? If you want to throw in a minor, E minor is a good one to throw in. Okay. Then with the same guitar or a different guitar, tune it to an open G chord. From fat to skinny, it would be D, G, D, G, B, D. Delta, golf, Bravo, Delta, from fat to skinny, right? Open G. Then say you recorded the song and you're in a position now where you can play along, you can add a guitar track, or you can just play along with the song you wrote. Once you're in open G tuning, to perform a G chord, no fretting whatsoever, just open 6 strings. Boom, there's your G chord. Clamp down hard across the 5th fret, that's a C chord. Clamp down hard across the 7th fret, that's a D chord, right? So now you're in a position where you can play G, C, and D on an open tuned guitar and playing along with a song that you wrote, right? Or technically any song that you ever learned in your life that uses G, C, and D chords, right? And you will get a beautiful, nice extra layer of I want to say harmony. It's not exactly harmony. The old-fashioned C just sounds different than the C I just described, with your index finger clamping hard across the 5th fret on an open-tuned guitar. You know, they sound different. And then say you're recording, you're actually using GarageBand or some recording software, then it would be up to you how to blend those two sounds in terms of the volume, the EQ and stuff. But for sure, people do this kind of thing all the time, especially pro guitar players. During the pandemic, a lot of people who would otherwise be touring around the country as a sideman, so to speak, or be doing recording studio work, right, session work. Well, they can't do that anymore, right? It's pandemic. So I'm aware definitely of a ton of guitar players and other musicians who would do it all on their computer, right? So some songwriter would send you a track and they'd be paying you to record a guitar part to go along with their track, right? And so I definitely heard stories about guitar players doing what we just talked about. They've got this song in the raw form. If the singer's voice, maybe a basic guitar track, a piano track, whatever. They're going to do some chord strumming. They're going to also do some stuff in an open tuning, maybe do some stuff on electric, some stuff on acoustic. You send it all back to the original songwriter or the producer, whoever, and now you've given them 2, 3, 4, 5 different options, right? That they can then do whatever they want with, right? So that's what I'm thinking about here, right? Layers, and if you are in a position to do this with different guitars, different amplifier settings, different effects, then you really can create this very rich, full, interesting sound, even though on paper the song is just a GCD song, right? There's a lot of songs out there that are 3-chord songs, people, a lot of songs. So you got to find ways to be creative. And this is a great way to be creative. It's one really good excuse to have a second guitar. That could be your open tuned guitar. By the way, what if you have the guitar, you have the second guitar tuned to an open G chord, right? But you just wrote a song in a different key. Capo up your open tuned guitar, right? Tell me if this makes sense. I have a guitar tuned an open G chord. I put a capo at the 2nd fret. Now all of a sudden my open G tuning is what? It would be an open, put it in the chat. It's not open G anymore. Capo at the 2nd fret. What key now would the guitar be in? Because once you're in that open tuning, the capo is your best friend, man. You can go all over the place with a capo. Open G tuning. Ooh, Chaz, you're close. Scott, you got it. You're in the key of A, right? So now you have a guitar that's in the key of A. Makes sense? Key of G up 2 frets. That's 2 half steps. Yeah, now it's an open A tuning. Or, hey, forget the capo altogether. You're in the open G tuning. That's fine. Any major chord you would ever want to play is just, now it's a 1 finger, big bar chord. By the way, you could layer your middle finger on top of your index and really get a good clamp on there, So let's say your buddy writes a song. It's on the key of G. It's A, D, and E. Well, forget the capo. Forget everything I just said about the capo. In A is that bar at 2. D is the bar at 7. And E is the bar at 9. 2, 7, and 9. So now you're strumming along with your friend in the open tuning, but you're just clamping down. The only problem with that is you're constantly clamping down. But okay, I mean, it's only for one song. You can do it. You can do it, Somewhere out there, I can tell someone saying, oh, I have a question. I have a question. Yes, in the back. What about minor chords? Yeah, you're stuck. Not forever. But wait a minute, the default tuning, open G, tuned to a G major chord. Well, now here comes E minor, for example. Well, there's no cute 1 finger minor chord. Now you got to get a little bit creative. You're going to need your fingertips. Let's use E minor as an example. Again, the hypothetical situation we're in an open G tuning, Delta Golf, Bravo Delta. To play an E minor chord, any string that's tuned to B, great. Any string tuned to G, great. But the strings that are tuned to D, and there are 3 D delta strings, you can't have a D. There's no D in an E minor chord. So you'd have to fret any string tuned to D at the 2nd fret. That would be the skinny string that hypothetically is tuned to D. You have to fret that at the 2nd fret. The 4th string, fret that at the 2nd fret. You could either fret the 6th string at the 2nd fret, or don't forget, you don't have to strum all the strings, right? So you could either fret those 3 strings at the 2nd fret, nothing wrong with that, or you could do less work by focusing on your pick and only playing certain strings. Not to be lazy exactly, but maybe you don't need to strum all 6 strings. I'm just putting it out there as an option, right? Getting back to the original point, if the song has a minor chord and you're in a major tuning, an open major tuning, yeah, then you have to figure it out. There's no cute 1 finger version of that. But I mean, that's where you find yourself, Keep in mind, if you are the songwriter, just don't put the E minor chord in. Write a G, C, D song. Life is good. You got it. So. Nice. 6-string Greg says, I started recording myself after 1 year of playing the guitar. Now I have 135 videos on YouTube that I recorded for myself, friends, and family. 45,000 views. Who are these people? That's a great, Greg. I know exactly what you mean. Who are these people? I remember that feeling very well when my first few videos got even 10 or 20 views. Like, I didn't feel like my mom watched it 20 times. So I distinctly remember asking my wife, who are these people? Yeah, who knows? Winston from Wales says, over Christmas, I played my first gig at a family party, a few carols and a few sing-alongs, strumming cowboy chords, quite nervous to start with. You were nervous to start with, Winston, but then what? Did the eggnog kick in? Or did you just sort of, like, what happened? I'm curious, because I'm sure there's people in the watching or in the chat right now who haven't done what you did, and they would benefit from your experience. So you said you were quite nervous to start with, and then what got you over that? I'm curious. There's more than one way to get that nervousness out of your system. But I'm curious what got you over that. So go ahead and let us know. But congratulations on the gig. I mean, that's just a beautiful thing. A holiday, family, banging out those cowboy chords. I mean, yeah. especially if there's, you know, a handful of people singing along. There is what's better than accompanying a handful of singers with those nice big brushing sounds. No matter how advanced you get, there's a time and a place for just strumming those nice big sounds, and that sounds like, you know, sounds like one of them. Scott says, I've been asked to possibly play somewhere in June, and the idea is scary. Yeah, yeah. And yet, I bet you do it, Scott. I bet you do. In fact, talking about it is almost a way to guarantee that you're going to do it, because now we're going to be like, hey, Scott, you know, it's March. How's the rehearsal going? Hey, Scott, it's May. Are you ready? You know what I mean? Like, once you let people know about something, it's almost like a commitment, even if you haven't officially committed, you know. So Winston, if you're still there, do let us know how how you did it. There's different types of courage, and you know, I know I've heard so many rock stars and lesser, you know, performers, quote lesser, you know. I've heard so many of them say the following: once it started, once you got into the first song, it was all better. You know, it's like, but that moment, that first, you know, yeah, you just have to get over that. You know, I can't tell you. In fact, it's almost like anytime I hear any performer talking about any sort of anxiety, that seems to be a recurring thing. You know, the something about sinking into the rhythm, the familiarity, say, of the chords of the song. If you're performing with other people, you look at them and they're doing it, you're doing it. Like, okay, there's my partner. We're doing this thing. It's all good. Hey, big news. February 7th, you are invited to come see me play. My buddy and I are getting our act together. We got a gig February 7th. It's a Friday night, so it won't affect our live stream here. Last time we played together, I was the drummer in the band and he was the guitar player. And that was a few years ago. And so now it's me and him, two people, two guitars, some nice harmonies. If I say so myself, we're sure working hard on the harmonies. And sometimes we play electric, acoustic, little effects, no effects. But we've been getting our act together and we have our first gig. Am I nervous? Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I want us to sound really good, you know, and I just know that I'm going to be amped up. And once that song kicks in, it's going to feel good. Oh, I think I told you, he and I have been playing at some open mic events just to, you know, test out the harmonies, get some miles under our belt, you know. And when that's what open mics are for, right? It's so fun. You know, you play your best 3 songs and you're done. Like, that's it. You know, you bang them out and you get it out of your system. In terms of anxiety, Scott says, I won't have to trim my nails if I just chew them off. Rock Lobster says, how often do you trim your nails, Mr. Songbike? Pretty often, man. I have on top of my amp, when I'm teaching lessons, I have nail clippers right there. And yeah, I don't know, once a week, maybe once a week. I have no idea if my nails grow faster than anybody else's. I have no idea. I just know that I'm as sensitive as anybody. You know, as soon as I feel my nail touch the wood of the fretboard, it's got to go. It's got to go. Sometimes I'll just look at them, and even if I haven't got to that point yet, if I see there's enough there to trim away, yeah, it's gone. It's gone. I don't even necessarily wait. You know, hey Harrison, thank you for the songbucks. When you make a super chat, we call those songbucks, right? Rock Lobster, songbucks. So thank you, Harrison. Harrison, you have just contributed to the Sharpie Fund and the white paper fund. There's some white paper right there. So Harrison, I appreciate that. If you would like to contribute some songbucks to SongBike, to this live stream, it's that $sign down at the bottom of the chat. So I thank you in advance. Hey, speaking of getting something, you can get this for free. And I thought, for our segments that I call Lessons You'll Never Forget, I'll play you a couple of things out of the SongBike Blues Guide. It's free. A lot of you have it already. In fact, if you have it already, I can tell you the thing I'm going to play is from page, we're going to do the G page, page 7, and we're going to do the A page on page 9. So if you have a copy of this, page 7 and page 9 are coming up. You know what else is coming up? Our weekly guitar play along. Oh, you know how I haven't been actually saying the name of the song when I tell you that we're about to play a song. It's been working great. I have not had a video demonetized since I stopped saying the name of the song. So who knows? And I've stopped putting it in. I've stopped typing the name in the description of the video, and that seems to be working temporarily. I mean, I get it. The bots will hunt me down. But I just, in the meantime, I'm getting a kick out of showing you guys the song, singing the song, doing all that stuff, but not actually saying the name of the song and the great songwriter who wrote the song, who I'm very grateful for. But as my grandfather said, too good is no good. I'm not here to get demonetized. You know what I mean? And I just want to play a song with you guys and have some fun. So we'll see. Hey, Tasha. So we'll see. We'll see. So we have a great song coming up, written by the guy who was in the band that smashed their instruments, right? There's that famous band that smashed their instruments. Okay, the song we're going to do tonight is written by the guitar player in that band. It's coming up in a minute. A lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm going to check off a few things. Should I sell out? Well, here's what I've been offered this week. These are emails that I get on a regular basis, very generic emails that say, we love your content and we would love to work with you to sell our product. Okay, you ready? Should I sell out? Here's what I have been offered to offer to you. I have been offered nail polish. Would you buy nail polish from me? I've been offered light bulbs, skincare products. This is all in the last couple of days. Or wait for it. Here's one that I don't think you saw this one coming. I did not see this coming. I have been offered a special deal. They will pay me and probably give me some samples of their products if I sell to you premium pepper grinders. Premium pepper grinders. There you go. So now you know what my life is like. I click on an email and I get emails like that. I don't know. I like pepper a little bit, right? A little bit. Right now, my wife is saying, we could use a pepper grinder. Would it kill you to bring home a free pepper grinder? What do you think, music fan? Should I go for the pepper grinders? Yeah, A to Z me says everybody needs pepper, right? I don't know, man. I don't want to cave into big pepper or big grinder. There's grinder and then there's grinder. I don't know. Anyways, that's what I've been offered this week. Should I sell out? I'm going to hold off. I don't know. I'm going to hold off at the moment. Premium pepper grinders. I'll tell you what, though. I would not promote any pepper grinder that wasn't a premium pepper grinder. All the way, baby. All the way. Yeah, see, now my wife is pushing for the skincare and the nail polish. Yeah, I don't know. Tasha says, yeah, I mean, she's a cooking fan. She says, go for the pepper grinder. I don't know. We live in strange times. I don't know. But there you go. Okay, my friends. How about one more thing before our song of the week? Our play-along song of the week. By the way, the Golden Globe that I mentioned before, the Golden Globe for Best Original Song from 2023 was for a song entitled El Mal, E-L-M-A-L, from the movie Emilia Perez. And I think the singer is a woman named Camille, I believe. Oh, no, the singer, sorry. The singer was Zoe Saldana from the movie Emilia Perez. Camille, I think there was a song that was written by a couple of different songwriters. Anyways, if you're curious, that's who got the Golden Globe for Best Original Song, El Mal, from the movie Emilia Perez. Check it out. Very, very interesting song. If you don't speak Spanish, find a way to translate the lyrics. The lyrics tell a really, the lyrics are telling a whole story. There's a lot going on in the lyrics. It's not just Moon and June and Spoon kind of song. And I have a feeling that that's part of the reason why it got the Golden Globe Award. Okay, let's do it. Let's do our play-along song of the week. The play-along song of the week As usual, I'm going to put it up on the screen here so you all can see it. Bear with me, folks. Da, 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 da. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to make it a little bit larger. Ooh, that's pretty big. Holy cow. Okay, those of you who thought you were nearsighted, here it comes. Our play-along song of the week. Ba-boom, ba-boom, here it comes. If your screen goes black, you know the routine. Don't worry. Okay, there you go. That's the song. That's the guy who smashes guitar. There's a few things on this page that I want to talk about, but then I feel like we can just bang this song out and have some fun. Many of you are familiar with this song. If you are not, that's okay. I realize that the chord diagram at the bottom of the page, it looks like my image. I'm cutting into that a little bit. Never fear. All shall be explained. Okay, I'm going to stop talking and just play the basic riff for a second so you can get the feel for this. For me to sing this, I might put a capo on. Okay, I'm not going to put a capo on, but I'm going to be singing it a whole octave lower than this fantastic, creative, talented songwriter whose voice is just, I just can't sing like that. So I'm singing the whole song an octave lower. It's going to be a different vibe. That's all right. It's still coming from the heart, you know? So no capo necessary, but this is the right key. So remember, my goal is for you guys to learn the song here, but then crank up the original and play along and have fun. Okay. Okay, that's what we're going for. That V says V colon and then a bunch of chord names. That's the intro. It's the verse. It's a vamp that comes back. That's the heart of the song. C, C, G, 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 F, 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 C, C, G, 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 F, 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 F. That's the heart of the song right there. The song doesn't have this big distinctive guitar part. So what I'm showing you fits the song really well. And it's basically what I'm going to do when we play it in a minute. So right under that, CH colon, that means chorus. It's the exact same thing, but with A minor instead of the C. And anytime the chorus happens, it happens 3 times, but only 3 times. And then right away it reverts back to the verse again. Except when it doesn't, except when it goes to the bridge. Okay, the bridge goes into what you could call a halftime feel. See that BR colon, A minor, D minor, the only key to your heart. Yeah, it's like this speed. A minor, 2, 3, 4. And basically, I'm just going to be doing downstrokes, just keeping a steady thing like that, okay? The bridge is really the same thing twice in a row. A minor, D minor, F, G, A minor, D minor, F, G. The bridge happens only one time. It happens after the second chorus, like a lot of songs. Intro, verse, chorus, bridge, and then another verse, chorus. Now, I'm going to repeat myself. The goal at this moment is not for you to play the song perfectly, although if you do, great, how fun. The goal is for you to get the basic idea and then work on it. Come back to this moment in the video, about halfway through this live stream. Come back to this moment or do a screenshot right now, whatever it takes. Work on it and then ultimately play along with the original version, right? So my concern for any student of mine is that pesky F chord. Dang it. I'm sorry. There's an F chord. I'm so sorry. I can tell you what I'm going to do because I do it a lot of the time. I don't play the full bar chord F. I don't play the little skinny 4-string F. I do essentially a compromise between the two. And that's what that diagram is. I'm going to, at the bottom of the page, I'm going to see if I can shift that over. You know, if I make it smaller. Okay, check that out. Yeah, there you go. Okay, see that? It's an F chord. Technically, it's an F/C because it's an F chord with C as a low note. So I am not fretting the skinny first string. I'm not fretting the fat string. I'm fretting the 4 inside strings. And that just works for me so well. The moments where the F chord returns to the C chord, guess what? My index finger is already on the right place for the C chord, and so is my ring. This particular F going to C, it couldn't get easier. And yet it's a full F chord. It's great, you know. So you don't have to apologize for doing this F. It's, you know, it's fine. One way to describe this, it's an F bar chord, but you take your index finger and only touch the second skinny string to the best of your ability. And this is important. To the best of your ability, lean over your pointer finger to intentionally mute out that skinny first string. That's a good thing. You want to do that. For once, you want to make a string sound dead on purpose. If you have nice big hands, you could lightly mute out the fat string with your thumb. If not, don't worry about it. Just don't strum that string. Okay. So, by the way, that little riff with the tab down below, we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so remember, going back to the verse, that boxy shape above the C means a down strum. The V-looking things above the G chords, those are up strums. So in slow motion, C, C, here comes the G, down, up, down, and then up on the F. G, 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 F. And then the next 3 Fs are just nice steady downstrokes, just kind of filler. C, C, G, 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 F, 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 F. Ooh, perfect opportunity to work on your G with your middle ring and pinky. It's the G, it's Jonathan's G. It's the G with no pointer finger. It's the G that's a little bit harder than the other G, but you want to get good at this because it's so easy to go from C to this G, right? Okay. I highly, highly, highly encourage you. Oh, and from that G to this F/C. Again, the name F/C just means an F chord with C as the lowest note. That's that 5th string, 3rd fret note. The strumming for the chorus, same deal. A minor, A minor, A minor, G, 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 F, 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 F. My love, open the door. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, Tasha, thank you for your song bucks, for your super chat. I appreciate that so much. So. Okay. And remember, when it gets to the bridge, after the second chorus, it's that halftime feel. The only key to your heart, I can stop you falling apart. So it's like A minor, 2, 3, 4. D minor, 2, 3, 4. And I would do F the same with the same grip. And I would do G with that same grip, right? Okay, last thing before we start the actual tune. That riff, that's that tab, that 102 tab. Essentially, it's most of a C chord. That 102, those are 3 of the strings, 3 of the notes from a C chord. That 000, those are directly from a G chord. It's the 3 open strings from a G chord, but you don't have to strum hold the G because you're just strumming the open strings from a G chord. I would do that as a little down up. And then that 2, 3, 3, that's directly related to this F I'm talking about. So you're welcome to actually play C, G, and this F. I'm just saying you don't have to. But this little riff, say you were going to perform this song, you want to do this riff. It's an authentic, appropriate way to kick off the tune. Try that again. So it's still C, G, F like the verse, but I'm just being trying to be a little more careful about exactly which strings I strum, as opposed to just banging out the C's and G's and F's. Okay, I'm just about ready. People keep repeating, you'll never fall in love. Okay, just so you know, this is like on our set list for our gig in February, but I'll probably capo up a little bit because I can't sing as high as Pete Townsend. That's why I'm singing down an octave, but I can sing a little bit higher than that. So I'll use the capo to maybe at the second or third fret to get it a little bit higher. At least that's the plan. For you, no capo, let's just do it because this is exactly how you can play it along with the original recording. Okay. I think I'm good to go. I'm always self-conscious about getting the guitar in the shot. Does it help you guys to see my hands? I assume it does, right? Because it can't hurt. It's just that I got to sit funny. I don't know. It's a me problem. It's okay. It's okay. Let's try this. Is that better? I don't know. It's all good. Okay, so for fun, I'm going to play that cute little riff. I'm going to go slower, and then I'll strum the chords a little bit. Last thing I'm going to say, and then we'll start. The song has quite a bit of vamping and background vocals that involve that C. Da, 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 da. I'm not going to do it as many multiples of times, I'm sure, as the original recording, because you guys will get the idea. Okay. I'll see you on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. When people keep repeating, everybody falls in love. Everybody keeps retreating, but you can't seem to get enough. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart. When everything feels all over and everybody seems unkind, I'll give you a 4-leaf clover. Take all the worry out of your mind. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart. The only key to your heart that can stop you falling apart. Try today, you'll find this way. Come on and give me a chance to say that my love opened the door. It's all I'm living for. Release yourself from misery. There's only one thing gonna set you free. That's my love. When tragedy befalls you, don't let it drag you down. Love can cure your problems. You're so lucky I'm around. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart. To your heart. We're in the key of C. Makes sense to have a C chord at the very end. Okay, so how do you do with that F chord? You give that a try? In the very beginning, I wasn't consistent about that strumming, that ba, 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 ba. But that's show business, I think I settled into that. Hopefully you guys did too. If I were to give you any more sort of sympathy, I realize it's weird changing to a chord on an upstroke, that G, 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 F. You are allowed to and encouraged to lift your hand off of the G chord right before the F so you can get to the F in time. I call that leaving early, and not only are you allowed to, but everyone does that. So in super slow motion, Here comes the G. I'm thinking of like the verse, right? The middle part of the verse after the two C's. G with a down, G with an up. I'm lifting off the G as I'm strumming down. But I'm getting my F chord in place, and I'm coming up on that F chord. Down, up, down on open strings, up on the F. Take my word for it, as long as that F happens when it's supposed to, with an upstroke, the world is not going to have time to analyze that G, quote, quote, right before the F, that G where I really wasn't a G anymore because I was lifting my hands away and starting to go to the F. Don't worry. Every once in a while, someone will say, oh, it sounds so bad. Yeah, if you want to call the world's attention to it, but that's how you get to the F faster. So sort of by definition, the world doesn't have time to analyze what happened right before the F because they're hearing the F. Trust me, I'm leaving early, but you wouldn't know, right? So I'll say it one more time. Not only is that allowable, that's pretty much how you do it. Even though I wish I could give you an extra gold star and 1,000 points, if you got all three of those G's perfectly with your hand, right, perfect, and then you got to the F so fast, I mean, good for you if you can do that. That stress isn't worth it. It's not worth it. Whereas nailing that F at the exact right moment with an upstroke is so important. Okay, so that's I want to share that with you because changing chords on an upstroke can feel weird, and that coupled with the fact that there's no time to change chords, that I want to bring it to your attention and talk to you about that. Okay, I think I'm done talking about it. Beginning guitar lessons is encouraging you all to hit the like button. Beginning guitar lessons and music fan, those are our moderators tonight. And yeah, go ahead and hit that like button. I don't know, because it's a positive thing. Hit it if you want to. I would love it. You know, we got 27. Look at that, 27. Hey, let's check in with our poll results so far. Okay, the poll question: would you buy a less expensive instrument than the one you already own? Ooh, big majority, 66% says sure, I'd buy a less expensive instrument if it makes me happy, if it fills a need, right? 18% said you would do it just because you like collecting beautiful instruments. Like, why not, man? Why not? 14% say no. I have one quality. I want my next instrument to be a better quality, which chances are is going to be more expensive, right? Chances are. And 2% say other. That's good. Love the other. Okay. So thank you to the man who smashes guitars for writing such a catchy song. I mean, that is a pop tune, right? That's a pop tune by any definition of a pop tune. By the way, what's the movie where Hugh Grant plays this to his love interest? I don't think it was Love Actually, although was it? There's some Hugh Grant movie where he gets a guitar and he's in the living room and you know, like my ears always perk up when I see a movie like that. I'm like, oh, what song is he going to play? And he played this song, and he did an okay job. Was it Love Actually or some other Hugh Grant movie? If you know the answer, let me know, because you know, anytime someone plays the guitar in a movie, I get a kick out of it. Hey, speaking of guitars in movies, I haven't done it yet, but I do intend to dig a little bit into the behind the scenes stuff from A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan movie starring Timothée Chalamet. I saw it. I liked it. I liked it more than I thought I would. I'd recommend you see it. Even if you're not specifically a Bob Dylan fan, I have it on good authority from the person sitting next to me at the movies that she said it was a good movie as a standalone movie. So, and why would she lie, right? So, but I keep hearing interesting details about the music, the musicians, the live recording. So that's something I would like to share with you as I learn more. But I recommend the movie, A Complete Unknown. Hey, Timothée Chalamet is hosting Saturday Night Live in 2 weeks, and he's also the musical guest. So it's pretty easy to imagine he's going to do something Bob Dylan related as the musical guest on Saturday Night Live. And of course, the Bob Dylan social media, folks are going nuts. Like, whoa, what if Bob Dylan actually came out? Whoa, man, Bob Dylan acting like Timothy Chalamet, acting like Bob Dylan. Whoa, what? I don't know. It's fun to speculate. Anyways, Matt asked me a question. Have I seen the Blues Brothers movie? I did. Yeah, I never saw the second one. I was not inspired to see the second one. I saw the first one. I've seen it a little bit. Yeah. What I get a kick out of is Steve Cropper. I mean, it's fun seeing all the Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles. I don't know if as a movie, I don't know. I saw it. I was old enough to appreciate the musicians, but young enough to not. I don't know if I thought of it as a work of art, as a piece of cinema history. That the car chase scene, I think, might have been too much even for me as a young person. It kind of wore me out. But no matter what, it's so cool that all those famous musicians, Matt Guitar Murphy, all those famous musicians are either featured or show up in the movie. I love that. DAC Poet says she liked the first Blues Brothers movie better. Hey, does the second one have a bunch of great musicians like the first one did? I mean, that would inspire me to go to Blockbuster. Oh wait, can't go to Blockbuster. Remember Blockbuster? Sam Moore. Oh, Sam Moore just passed away. Kat is saying Sam Moore from Sam and Dave. Man. So he's in the second Blues Brothers movie. Sam Moore of the singing duo Sam and Dave. And you guys know songs that Sam Moore has sung, such as "Hold On, I'm Coming," right? Love that song. So I'm sorry to hear that Sam Moore passed away. Hey, I'm going to say a few hellos to folks I see popping up in the chat. Charlie Beagle, hello. Caddis, RB, DAC Poet, hello. A to Z Me, Matt, Randy, Harrison, you're with us still. Hey, thanks for hanging out, you guys. Tasha, Scott, Rock Lobster, thanks for being here. Six String Greg, I just appreciate Winston. Harrison, did I say hello already, Harrison? Wingo, hello. I appreciate you guys being here. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. There we go. So we have plenty of time left. I need you. Don't go anywhere. Stay right there. I have a big question. I'm getting my Patreon page ready ready to go live. What can I do for you in the context of Patreon? I need some feedback. There's everybody out there who offers all sorts of stuff on Patreon. And frankly, I really want to know what you would like me to do for you on Patreon. You guys may be well aware of the things that people offer from Patreon, from exclusive Zoom calls, certain content, merch. I don't know, the sky's the limit. So please, I could really use your feedback. It would make my decision-making process so much easier. Instead of putting it in the chat, I mean, nothing wrong with putting it in the chat, but if you would email me, guess what? Here's the email address, info. Let me make this good. Send me an email, and it can be as long and involved as any email you're ever going to send. info@song-bike.com. Maybe put the word Patreon in the subject line. Put Patreon, the word Patreon. What would you like to see? Patreon, $5 a month. Let's say you're paying $5 a month. What would make it worth that for you guys? Okay, so I just put the email address in the chat. But you don't have to. You're welcome to put suggestions in the chat. I would prefer a nice long email because even though I do look at the chat when I'm time stamping, seeing it as an email would give me more confidence. I'm not 100% confident that I see every comment in the chat when I do the live stamping. I'm pretty sure I do, but I'd feel so much better if you email me. So send me an email, info@song-bike.com. And of course, this goes for those of you who are watching this in the next few days, whatever, put Patreon in the subject line. That's how I know what the topic is. And yeah, so just hypothetically, you're paying $5 a month through Patreon and you're getting what? And you're thinking, yeah, man, that is worth $5. I pay $5 a month if I, continually received da-da-da. So go ahead. A to Z Me is saying private lessons, song request tutorials. Yep. So keep them coming. And again, you're welcome to put them in the chat, but especially if you sleep on it and tomorrow morning get some ideas, just email me. The email address, by the way, is in the description of this video. So if you're not in a position to write down the email address, don't even worry about it. info@song-bike.com. It's in the description of every video. So yeah, because I'm basically ready to go in the sense that I have the whole Patreon thing set up. I just haven't put in the good stuff. Like, what do you get? DIC Poet is saying sheet music PDFs. Yeah, excellent. So for instance, like, sort of having access to that, but maybe like dozens and dozens of these. I mean, I have so many of these, you guys. So maybe a Patreon membership, so to speak, would get you access to a whole bunch of these. Yeah. So, okay. So keep the ideas coming, but don't be shy. Email is definitely allows you to process it and think of 22 ideas and send them all to me. I'd appreciate that. Okay. Thanks. And probably I'll be bringing this up over the next few live streams just to encourage, more and more people to give me some suggestions, or encourage the same people to come up with more suggestions. Harrison is saying the G to F chord change is going to need some work. Yeah. I debated about putting the song in a different key with a capo so that it would eliminate the need for an F chord, and you could still play along with the song. Okay, so for the record, take a good look at this. I'm about to transpose this in real time. Okay, check it out. And you can always come back to this part of the video. I'll timestamp this part of the video. I'll call it, transposing tonight's play along at this moment in time. Okay, you ready? If you want to avoid the F chord, even if you don't want to avoid the F chord, but if you want, I don't know, another way of playing the song. Okay, capo at the 5th fret. Every time it says G, sorry, scratch that. Every time it says C, you're going to play G like golf. Every time it says G, you're going to play D like Delta. Every time it says F, you're going to play C like Charlie. G, G, D, 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 C, 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 C. G, G, D, 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 C, C, C. But you got to have the capo on the 5th fret if you want to play along with the recorded version. Okay. A minor, guess what? E minor instead. So great, E minor. It doesn't get any easier. E minor, D, 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 C, 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 C. E minor, D, 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 C. Kind of easier, right? Okay, and for the bridge, E minor, da, 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 then A minor, love it, da, 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 C instead of the F, and then D instead of the G, and then the whole thing starts again. E minor instead of the A minor instead of the D minor, C instead of the F, D instead of the G, okay? So that's known as transposing. The capo puts you back in the key that's going to fit the recording, so you can still play along with the recording, but your fretting hand no longer has to play F. And again, I debated whether or not to do that, but part of me wants to push you guys to get good at your F chord. Remember, if there's any one trick besides practice for not only for the F chord, but for bar chords in general, your fretting hand, index finger, you want to roll it back onto the edge. This goes for doing a little tiny bit of like say you're doing the 4 skinny string version of F, where your index finger is squeezing the 2 skinny strings, roll that index finger onto its side. Which side? The side closest to your thumb. As you're rolling it, you should bring your left elbow in towards the guitar. That's going to guarantee you're rolling it the right direction. Every once in a while, a student says, wait, which way do I roll my index finger? Do I roll my finger over like this? And I say, look at your elbow. Does that look like good? Does that look like what rock stars do? So I don't say it that sarcastically. I hope I don't. So whether you're doing this little F here or any bar chord, roll your index finger onto its side, okay? Your thumb should be pointing straight up towards the ceiling, which is a good habit just anyways, you know, in general, okay? Overextend your index finger. If you're doing this as a bar, your index finger should go past the fat string. That lets you get the big knuckle of your finger involved, you know, okay? I'm not saying that overnight, instantly, every bar chord you've ever wanted to play will become instantly easier, but I've seen it happen instantly. I've also seen it sound a lot better, and now you have something to work on, and your bar chords or that little F chord, it will improve. So that's the big secret. Roll that index finger over, overextend that index finger. I mean, unless you're doing that little F, then that you don't have to worry about overextending index finger. Roll the finger over, left elbow, if your left hand is the fretting hand, left elbow in towards the guitar a little bit, you know, overextend that finger. You will now have a fighting chance to get a good bar chord or a good little F chord. Sadly, that's not directly relevant in tonight's song because the way of doing the F chord here that I'm encouraging you to do doesn't have any barring. Nevertheless, got to give you some F advice, man. Some F advice. RB suggests making bar chords requires building up muscles on your thumb and index finger before you can really have a good grip. Yeah, that might be. I wish I knew more about the muscles, tendons, ligaments, but I don't doubt that for a minute. You know, Rock Lobster, you're saying what time are you thinking of? Time in terms of Patreon stuff? Is that what you're talking about, Rock Lobster? I'm really open-minded to the Patreon stuff, if that's what you're talking about in terms of what time we're thinking of. But like if I did a Zoom, you know, a once a month Zoom exclusive kind of thing, we'd find a time that worked. It would probably be like a Sunday. Sunday's the only day I'm not teaching. So like that, I could envision doing like a once a month Sunday thing. I mean, once a week, I don't know. Like you guys tell me, right? But Sundays in general. Okay, Rock Lobster, I understand. Yeah. So yeah, that's yeah, sure. Scott Rhodes, you're reminding me about this SWEETWATER affiliate link. You guys, you support what we're doing here just by being here. So thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you. But you can also support what we're doing here by buying yourself something. And here it comes. My new SWEETWATER affiliate link. Dun, dun, dun. New. Well, it's not new anymore exactly, but it's the newest one. So you do not have to be shy. There you go. There it is right there. Okay. There you go. It's in the chat. It's also in the description of every live stream. If you're going to shop at SWEETWATER anyways, click on that link. That'll get you to SWEETWATER, but SWEETWATER knows that I sent you. I encourage you to go to SWEETWATER, and then they take a little bit of their profits and send it back to support this live stream. Okay. Hey, one more thing while I'm encouraging you guys to get something for yourself. Get yourself SongBike ball cap. Get yourself a SongBike t-shirt. I forget the name of the color of the t-shirt that I'm wearing right now. It pops, right? It's a little brighter than I expected. I love it now, but when I first opened the package, I thought, holy cow. But yeah, head over to the official website is SongBike, all one word, .altacolor.com. It's in the description of this as well. Altacolor, ALTACOLOR.com. They're a cool company out of Texas, and they've proven to be good to deal with. I've enjoyed dealing with them, and they have a million options for merch. I mean, beer cozies. Oh, you know what? I don't know if they have nail clippers. Don't know if you remember, but I thought that'd be hilarious to have SongBike branded nail clippers. We all need them. You got to keep those nails short. I don't remember seeing those, but anyways, get yourself a little something. Wear your SongBike gear with pride. Okay, my friends. Hey, if you happen to ask a question and I did not answer your question today, please ask it again. It's possible I just missed it. Put it in the chat, and don't forget, put a handful of question marks in advance, so I know that you are directing your question at me. Six String Greg, I saw earlier you said, Jonathan, are you playing acoustic or electric? Are you talking about for the gig? For the gig in February? It's a good question. I'm going to play acoustic for sure. My buddy is pushing me to play some electric guitar as well, but it's like, I don't know if that's the right vibe for the place, because it's a small brewery. I have a hard time saying that word, brewery. And I don't think there's a ton of space. And I think a nice warm acoustic sound is the right vibe. But of course, I'm dying to take my electric guitar out to play and make some noise. So I haven't actually been to this particular venue before. So I'll probably go there and listen to some other people play and have a beer and something yummy, I hope, and sort of get the vibe for the place. But I'll be playing acoustic guitar for sure. And he's going to switch between acoustic and electric. I know, we'll see. It's, in my opinion, it's so important to read the room about everything, including the acoustics and the vibe of the place. There's so much that can go right and so much that can go wrong. And when I say go wrong, it's more like someone could leave and be like, oh, those guys are pretty good. They were a little bit too loud. Or those guys were talented, but the guitar sounded so noisy and weird. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you don't want any buts. No buts. Pee Wee Herman said, everybody's got a big butt. You want people to be like, whoa, those guys were good. End of story. You don't want there to be anything else. So, I mean, part of the way to, I think, to hopefully create that experience for everybody is to go in advance and read the room and say, okay, what's going on? See someone else and they're playing acoustic, but maybe it's too soft. Maybe it's 2-3 guys. I mean, I don't know. You guys, you know what I'm talking about. If you're my age, you've been to enough places and heard enough live music that sometimes it just sounds so good. And sometimes you think, maybe they sounds good, but they're playing songs that nobody knows and nobody likes. And I don't know, right? And like, well, I don't know. Maybe they're not the best thing you've ever seen, but every song is a sing-along and people are having a ball. Oh, before I move on, I read the most interesting thing. It was a restaurant critic, maybe for the New York Times, I'm not sure. And the restaurant critic said, when they went to a restaurant, it wasn't just about how every morsel of food tasted. They looked around the restaurant. Were people there essentially having a good experience? That's part of being a successful restaurant, right? And the restaurant critic factored that in to the restaurant review, And I like that. Were the people there getting what they'd hoped they would get? Were they happy? Were they having a positive time with their fellow human beings? And I thought, wow, I like that, man. If I get that, it's not all about how was the eggplant, So Tasha says, I hope you can tape some of it. Yeah, I would love to. I would love to record it. I mean, partly I want to record it just because I know I like to go back and listen to stuff to try to do better the next time, Also, there have been times when I've made some horrible mistake on stage. Horrible. Just depressing and just ruins the whole experience for me until I listened to the playback and I realized, oh my God, it was one weird sound in one song and it was fine. And I definitely have had that experience where like the recording kind of saved me because, you guys know something happens. It could be a non-musical thing, right? You say the wrong thing in the wrong company. I don't know, whatever it happens to be, right? And, you get home and you find out you've had food in your teeth for the whole day. Like, oh my God, right? Whatever it happens to be. So in this particular case, I can clearly remember one night where the tape cured my depression. And I realized, it was not as bad as I thought it was. And I could listen to the rest of the night and realize, look at all this other, I played a lot of right notes. I played a lot of good sounds. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Scott says he's just a few weeks away from a fairly major Sweetwater shopping spree. Scott, go for it. The economy thanks you. Okay, my friends, we have a few more things to do here. I want to get into another lesson you'll never forget from the blues book. Before I do that, you know what I didn't do this week is I didn't do a deep dive on something we've talked about before from Songlines Magazine, 50 Global Guitar Greats. We've done dozens of these. And you know what? Maybe we'll take this week off, although there's a bunch of great ones. You know what I like to do? I like to do a deep dive on each of the 5, usually do 5 a week, and find a really cool video that I think shows the performer doing something that I really like. I think you will like. I didn't do that this week, so let's take this week off and we'll regroup next week. Okay. Who's in town, though? This I did do a little dive on. Who's in town across the street this week? Masters of the Telecaster. Some of you know who I'm talking about. Masters of the Telecaster. 3 guitar players, all known for playing that specific brand of guitar. Very often it's G.E. Smith, who many of you guys know from Saturday Night Live a few decades ago. Jim Weeder, who many of us know him as the guitar player in the band called The Band, in sort of the newer incarnation of the band. And the third person, to me, it seems like the third person is always some like a revolving door. And this week across the street, it's Larry Campbell, great guitar player who a lot of us associate as a guy who played with Bob Dylan for a lot of years and Levon Helm for a bunch of years. And he has his own solo thing going on with his wife, Teresa Campbell. So Masters of the Telecaster, a few days from now across the street. Very cool. I'll put a link in the description of this video so you guys can check out Masters of the Telecaster. It's them live playing Down by the River by Neil Young. And then 2 more people that I want to turn you on to who are also playing across the street this week. A ukulele player named Tamaine and her trio, Tamaine. In the description of this live stream, I'll put a link to her playing the song Wicked Game. She's playing ukulele, and there's a partner of hers playing nylon string guitar accompanying her. Wicked Game, the Chris Isaak song. And the third performer across the street that definitely caught my attention because of the name, the Amish Outlaws. The Amish Outlaws are coming through small town Connecticut, where I am. And I did not know what to expect when I did a little deep dive on who the Amish Outlaws are. I'm going to put a link to their kind of promo video in the description of this live stream. You just might get a kick out of the Amish Outlaws. I know very little about them, but I can see how they're extremely entertaining. So that's who's in town this week. Masters of the Telecaster, Tamaine and her trio, and the Amish Outlaws. Opening acts. I lived in Chicago for a long time. The legendary Buddy Guy has a blues club called Legends, Buddy Guy's Legends. And every January, Buddy Guy plays a whole bunch of shows for the month of January. And he has different people as the opening act. Would you open for Buddy Guy? That is, boy, you're in the hot seat. And people are there to hear. I mean, Buddy Guy is, at his age, he, I think, is the most famous and possibly the last major blues performer who has lived through the almost all the 20th century and has played blues through all the eras of blues from the 50s, 60s, 70s into the present day. Would you want to be the opener for him? Well, who is opening? I'll tell you who's opening. In fact, I might be able to just put this in the chat. I'll put it in the description. It's a handful of people. The chat might not allow me to put this whole thing because it's a lot of names. Here is the variety of people who are opening for Buddy Guy. Oh, look at, no, it won't quite let me. Okay, well, it's letting me put a lot of them in. Hold on. Yeah, it's telling me it's a little bit too long. It's okay, bear with me. But I'll put this in the description of the video as well. These are the people who are opening for Buddy Guy during his January residency at his own club in Chicago. I used to go use his club, okay, hold on here, as a turnaround point. Back when I was a runner, I would run from my apartment building down to Buddy Guy's club and back again. That was a good, healthy run. In fact, in hindsight, I can't believe I did. That was a pretty long run. Because, I mean, if you go for a run, you know, those of you who are runners, bicyclists, you got your different routes, you know. So you run, especially living in Chicago, you could run a certain amount in one direction and then run back again, and life was good. You know, the lakefront bicycle path, the path that goes along Lake Michigan on the, what's that, the east side of Chicago. Okay, so I would run to Buddy Guy's club and back again, and pretty cool. Okay, so I just put a whole bunch of names in the chat, and let's see. Okay, the ones that got cut off. Here are the ones that got cut off. All these people. And I'll tell you right now, I am familiar with a couple of these names and definitely not familiar with all of them. So if you are feeling the blues, you could do worse than fire up the old YouTube and watch a bunch of Buddy Guy videos. And then all those names in the chat: Kingfish Ingram. Some people know him as just Kingfish. Wayne Baker Brooks, Eliza Niels, the Cashbox Kings, Melvin Taylor, Joe Doyle, the famous Bobby Rush, Paolo Apuli, Corey Dennison, New Orleans Bo, Funky Mojo Daddy, Stephen Hilsheim, John Primer, the Nub Blub Band, and Laretha Weathersby. I believe that's a complete list of all sorts of blues people that, hey, if you're a blues fan, that's who you want to check out. Why not, man? All those people are opening for Buddy Guy in the month of January. I think maybe that he has a few gigs in February as well. Hey, if you're in Chicago, now some of those are sold out. Kingfish is the first one for the first night of Buddy Guy's residency, and I saw that one sold out already. But hey, if you have a reason to go to, I mean, if you're going to Chicago in January, I hope you're getting paid to. Hope it's a conference or something you're getting paid to. That's some cold weather, man. But if you find yourself in Chicago, head over to Buddy Guy's club, man, and I have no doubt that the opening act is going to be fantastic, and then you get to see Buddy Guy as well. Tasha is familiar with Carl Weathersby. You don't know if Carl Weathersby is related to Laretha Weathersby. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, a bunch of those names I was not familiar with. I don't know about you, but it's fun when someone hands you one name, 5 names, and you say, check them out, see who you like. Especially with that many, I don't know how many that is, 12 or 15. If you're a blues fan, there's going to be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 in there that are going to be your new favorites. I would not be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Okay, guitars are adjustable. Why am I segueing into that? Because I don't want to forget to segue into it. Every once in a while, I'm having a conversation with a student, and they say, my cousin has a beautiful guitar, but the strings are hard to press down. Or my neighbor wants to give me the guitar, but when I plug it in, it makes a crackling noise. So I don't want it. Guitars are adjustable. Guitars are fixable. There are lots of ways to evaluate whether or not you want to play that guitar. Maybe it's your old guitar and it doesn't feel right anymore, so you're thinking about getting a new guitar. Now, don't let me stop you from getting a new guitar, but there's so many ways to bring a guitar back to, like new condition, potentially even better than new condition. Meaning the guitar might have been hanging on the wall in the guitar shop and you went and bought it, but maybe the guitar hadn't been properly set up. Well, once someone gets their hands on it and does all the nice little tweaking, the neck adjustment, maybe the nut, maybe the saddle, polishing the frets, the guitar might literally be better than when you bought it, better than new, right? So I'll keep this short because that's my message. Every guitar is adjustable, fixable, you name it. You may decide a guitar with a headstock broken off is not worth the price of putting it back on. I got it. But I just want to make that clear. Whether you're shopping for a guitar, evaluating your current guitar, weighing whether or not you want the old guitar that your uncle is trying to just pawn off on you, whatever the case happens to be. Now you got to find the right person to do the work. And it might not be cheap. It might be cheap. It depends how you define cheap, right? Since guitar is my thing, the idea of investing $100 in taking some guitar that's out of whack and getting it playable and sounding halfway decent, to me, $100, like, well, yeah, man, how cool is that? Some of you might say, are you kidding me? $100? I get it. Believe me, I get it. But the number one message, because some people think a guitar is what it is, and you like it, you don't like it, but it is what it is. So I'm here to tell you, guitars can be made to be more comfortable in terms of pressing down the strings, better sounding, more stable. Maybe the guitar's not staying in tune. All that stuff. There's remedies for all that stuff. Get a quote first. Decide if you want to spend that money. But I'm sure I had some conversation recently that made me think, "Ooh, I should bring this up during the live stream," just in case some of you feel like, I don't like that guitar because of some reason. Now, if you don't like it because of the color, that's different. If it's a big, huge dreadnought and you don't like your arm reaching over the dreadnought acoustic like this, it's just not comfortable, got it. That's different, right? If the neck is big and fat, if the neck is too skinny, that's different, right? But in terms of like how hard the strings are to press down, little buzzing sounds that the strings make that they shouldn't make, if the frets feel rusty and crusty, if it's not staying in tune, a lot of these things can be addressed and made as good as new, if not better than new. Oh, Chris, you're asking a good question. Chris says, well, how do you find a good guitar tech? It's a good question. I wish there were like a website, like a Better Business Bureau, but for guitar techs, right? Well, Google it. That's the modern way to do it. The word luthier, 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 guitar tech. Just Google it and the name of your town or the closest city. Any store that sells guitars would know who the good guitar techs are. Ideally, they would also employ the good guitar techs. I have mixed feelings about Guitar Center because I've had students have bad experiences with guitar techs at Guitar Center, but I don't want to say don't ever use the guitar tech at Guitar Center. But I can't sugarcoat it. I've heard stories about people having negative experiences with the guitar tech employed at Guitar Center. Then again, I know a guy who used to drive to Guitar Center as a guitar tech, pick up that week's guitars, go back to his workshop, do the work, and then bring it back to the Guitar Center. And he's the best guitar tech I know. So if you come across a guitar tech that's super busy, that's a good sign. If the guitar tech says, I'm happy to help you, I won't be able to get to your guitar for a week. In general, that's a good sign. Good guitar techs are super busy. Don't be surprised if the guitar tech cannot do the work for you right there as you wait. They might be able to. You might hit them at just the right spot, but don't be surprised if they ask you to leave the instrument or come back and drop it off at a very specific time. A lot of people that I'm aware of, they don't have tons of space. So they don't want your guitar there for the 10 days before they can get to it. So they might say, you know, please bring it back. One more note. If any of you are looking for a second career, be a guitar tech, right? The world, there's, in my experience, there's not enough really great guitar techs. And why not you, man? Why not you? You're good with your hands. You're good with your fingers. You like guitar. You know, you can focus on just electric. Maybe you love the nuts and bolts of an electric guitar. You can focus on just acoustic. Maybe you love wood and glue, and you want to focus on that. There's room for more guitar techs. You can go to school for it, you know. There's YouTube videos. There's all sorts of things to do. How do you start? You start by doing your own guitars. You start by getting very, very inexpensive guitars and messing around with those. That's what I've done a little bit. Okay, but Chris, thank you for bringing that up, because there's not always one right there in your neighborhood. And a good one is worth their weight in gold. Bring them cookies. You know, find out what they like in their coffee. Bring them a coffee to get on their good side. It's possible that a guitar tech might be grumpy. They have a lot of work on their plate, and they might not have time to sit and talk with you about life. They might say, yeah, got it. We need to reglue that bridge. Got it. Yeah, it's going to be 10 days. I see in 10 days it's going to be $75. Okay, see ya. They might not. Don't take it personally. They're just super busy. And what you brought them might be a very routine thing in a good way. And they've already, well, they're looking at, you know, they're multitasking. They're fixing one guitar. They're looking at you as you take your guitar to your case. They're already sizing up. Yep, I can see. Yep, got it. They already know what they're going to charge you. They already know it's going to take 4 days. They'll see you, and you know what I mean? Like, so they might not be a ray of sunshine. They might just be very businesslike. Yep, see you later. Bye. And you know, but that's okay. That's okay. Don't take it personally, like I said. Hey, here's a question. Should you learn to restring your guitar yourself? Yeah, definitely. There's very little that can go wrong in terms of hurting the guitar. And you know, other than sort of jabbing your fingers or having, like, breaking a string and having to do it over again. There's a lot that can go right. You save yourself some money. Some of you might remember last week. Bear with me, folks. Okay. You want to learn how to change guitar strings? This ebook, The Guitar, Year 1. There you go. How to change guitar strings with color pictures. And look at all these pages. The reason it took me 3 pages, is it 3? Yeah, 3 pages, is because I wanted to, like, show, like, every little teeny tiny step. So that's one way to learn how to change guitar strings, especially if you're playing sort of a standard acoustic guitar. Not that it's harder on electric guitar. If anything, it's easier on electric guitar. How do you get this book? www.song-bike.com. It's an electronic book. After you buy it, it arrives immediately in your email inbox, and then you can flip to page 48. That's how you change strings. Remember, my number one advice: buy 2 sets of strings, 2 brand new sets of strings before you start. If you break a string, you'll have a spare right there, and probably whatever you did that broke the string, you won't do it again. And then you have the spare set of strings, and life is good. So I highly encourage you to do that. But yeah, sure, you can do it. And for what it's worth, I still jab my fingers every once in a while changing strings. So if you do it and some blood comes out, yep, it can happen. It's avoidable in theory. I still manage to jab myself. I don't know why. Hey, Tom Davis is watching. Hi, Tom. Welcome. Rick G, thank you. Rick G says, I started watching guitar techs and purchased tools like fret files. Started picking up old guitars and making work really good. Yeah, man, good for you. Excellent. That's how you do it. Yeah. You guys know I'm a big fan of the Know Your Gear YouTube channel and podcast. Know Your Gear, KNOW, as in understand your equipment, right? Know Your Gear. And he's a guy who has a million videos on everything from, you know, simple-ish stuff like changing your strings to more complicated stuff like swapping out pickups and all sorts of stuff. So I highly recommend Phil McKnight and his channel called Know Your Gear. I listen to, actually, when I'm driving home tonight, I'll probably listen to his podcast on Spotify. Excuse me. Scott says, you got to bleed a little if you want to play the blues. Yeah. RB says, how often do you change your strings, Jonathan? I wish I could say once a month, because that would sound so like, I don't know, it sounds like once a month sounds good. In reality, probably every couple months. I teach on an acoustic guitar. I usually use one of my acoustic guitars, and little by little, I see the strings just go dead, and they start to sound kind of funky. They don't stay in tune as well. They start looking a little brownish rather than that nice coppery, bronzy color. And I say to myself, I really should change strings. I really should change strings. So a few weeks after that, I change them. So Harrison learned how to do soldering again. Yeah, nice. Yeah, soldering, right? How many people have had a loose jack, right? And all it really needs is to have the leads soldered back on again, right? And tightened up, right? And you're back in business. So yeah, soldering iron, sure. Joseph looked up the Amish outlaws. Yeah, Joseph, you're welcome. Very unique kind of things. So Subir, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, Subir, but to answer your question, yeah, you can not only should you learn how to restring your guitar stuff, but you can do it. Electric guitar can be easier in a lot of ways, because especially a lot of Fender style guitars, you feed the strings in through the back. There's not even anything to do back there. You just feed the string through the back and pull it out the front, and life is good. Sadly, this guitar is not that way because it has this Bigsby kind of attachment. But that makes this end of the restring process that much simpler. And then really you focus on the six strings up there. Here's another tip. When you do go to restring your guitars, consider only doing one string at a time, so you can use the remaining strings as a guide. Nothing like having 5 strings that are hopefully put on correctly to use as a guide that way. Here's one thing that I notice sometimes when students restring their guitars. They don't make them all curve around the way they're supposed to curve around. These tuning machines in the back, they have a gear, obviously on the inside. That gear is meant to pull in one direction. If you wrap your strings around the opposite way, technically it'll work, but you're asking the gear to be pulled the other way, essentially, and that's not a good idea. Tuning machines don't last forever as it is. I mean, good quality ones last a long time, but they all have a limited lifespan. Could be a few decades, but sooner or later, tuning machines need to be replaced by somebody. Could be in the next lifetime, but somebody's going to have to replace them. So making sure the strings are all coiling in the right direction is really important. And if 5 of the strings are still on and you're just doing the 6th string, the next string, then you can use the other ones as a guide just to remind yourself to make sure they coil in the proper direction. Okay. Harrison is reminding all of us, you can learn anything on YouTube. I replaced my window screens, the actual screen fabric, it was getting some holes. I was proud of myself, man. I did it. I had to buy the right tool. There's a certain tool, right, to replace the screen. I bought, a big roll of it from the hardware store. The hardware store would have been happy to do the work for me. I think $20 a screen. Oh, well, me and my YouTube video, I think I maybe paid a total of $20 for the materials and did 3 or 4 or 5 screens. Plus, I just felt good about myself. Like I did it. Woohoo, woohoo. And my wife was so proud. My wife was like, right, honey? She was like, you're amazing. Right, honey? Back me up on this. Yeah, she loved it. She was, like her eyes turned to little hearts. I could just see them. She was so proud of me. Right. This is my way of seeing if my wife is still watching the live stream. Hey, my mom often watches these live streams, and I often say, hey, Mom, hope you're doing well. Okay, so my friends, it's about time to wrap up. Don't go anywhere yet. let's do one quick verbal thing, and then let's do a little bit of blues from the free blues guide, and then we'll wrap up. Oh, music fan, she is there. I'm sure she remembers it like yesterday, the day Jonathan fixed the screens. I'm sure she probably, I'm sure she is still talking about it amongst her friends and her side of the family, because it was a beautiful day. Yeah. Okay, my friends, there's a great theory that I want to share with you, because I thought it was so cool. Okay, here is what it is. First of all, a student reminded me of this because we were doing the boom, chicka, boom, chicka rhythm. My student said, oh, that sounds like a railroad train. Boom, chicka, kind of sound. And that reminded me of what I'm about to tell you. By the way, just in case some of you are not familiar with the boom chicka strum, I grabbed an E major chord. I hit the fat string with a nice firm grip on the pick. I loosened my grip on the pick and did a little down up on the 2 or 3 treble strings. Squeeze the pick again, 4th string, pluck that by itself, and same thing, little brush down up on the skinny strings, boom, chicka. RB says Folsom Prison, right? It's that you can't have a Johnny Cash song without that. Or another way to say it is, so many people directly associate that with Johnny Cash songs. Definitely, for sure. Okay, so why did this remind me? What did this remind me of? Okay. Rhythm relates to transportation. I believe it was a music writer named Stanley Booth. There is a music writer named Stanley Booth, has written a lot of books. I think it was one of his books. So let's give him credit. He's written a lot of books, so it's possible he wrote what I'm about to tell you about. People ride on horses. I'm going to stick on the E chord. People ride on horses, and what do you get? You get like you get that horse kind of rhythm. Of course, you guys remember back when we were all younger, everyone rode horses, no automobiles, no trains, right? Boom. And here's the song that you get songs written with that kind of horsey rhythm, right? Along comes the train. Music changes to reflect this way that human beings are moving through, life. And now songs start to reflect that railroad rhythm, right? Along comes the automobile. What do you get? Right? Who's that? That's Chuck Berry, man. Going down Route 66 in a Cadillac. Okay, so what is this theory? The theory is that the rhythms of popular music are mirrored by the rhythms of transportation. I know, interesting idea, right? Right? I mean, I know, kind of cool. Hey, Vincent, welcome to the chat. Vincent, is this your first time watching? I don't recognize your name, Vincent, but you are welcome. And Vincent, if you have a question, we're just about to wrap up, but please join us in the future because you can ask me questions. Okay, so I just thought I'd put that out there for all of us rhythm guitar players. Why do we do what we do? How did any of this stuff come to become, popular, accepted rhythmic stuff? So I'm going to give Stanley Booth the credit. I love rhythm guitar myself. You guys know I'm a recovering drummer. All drummers think about is rhythm. So I don't have a better idea than his notion that popular music has rhythms that are reflected by the popular transportation of the day. I love it. I don't know, something to think about. Okay, Dawson, yeah. What about Tesla? Yeah, right. Oh, what about, forget Teslas for a minute. What about air travel? Well, airplanes have no rhythm. So would that be like new age music? Maybe, right? I don't know. Interesting. Something to think about. All right. So, hey, how about 2 quick things from the blues guide? You guys know, here it comes. Can I make this a little bit bigger? I think I'll stick with that. You guys know this is something that is available to you for free. Free. Head over to song-bike.com. Okay, you guys seeing that right now? Head over to song-bike.com and get yourself a free copy of this book. Free, free, free. It gets sent to your email inbox instantly. Okay, and there's a video that goes along with the book. By the way, the link to watch the video that goes along with this free ebook, the link to watch that video is in the description of this live stream and every live stream. Okay, so here's how I presented this blues guide. I'm going to teach you a lesson you never forget. Show you a blues scale, because we all should practice our scales, right? We all got to practice our scales. And then a famous song that essentially is based on that scale. So you see we got the A blues scale up above, ascending 2 octaves and descending 2 octaves. And then we have that famous riff. Should I say the name of the riff without getting demonetized? Mr. Slowhand himself. I went down to the blank. Okay, so anytime you practice any scale, down, up picking, alternate picking with your picking hand. Anytime you practice any scale, do a quick evaluation. Which frets are necessary? Well, take a look. This A blues scale. We need 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 4th fret, and 5th fret. Wow, good thing you got 4 fingers, and the pinky can reach up to get that 5th fret when you need it. Other than that, though, does this make sense? Anytime you need the 1st fret, use your 1st finger. 2nd fret, 2nd finger. 3rd fret, you get the idea, right? So now we're set up for success. Here comes the A blues scale and riff, or the A blues scale. 1st octave, 2nd octave, now descending, next octave, little bonus there, right? We went down a little bit extra low and back up again. Okay, so as a teacher, I like to present this as both a warm-up, right? Playing a scale is a great way to get warmed up, but it also just sounds so good, right? Something about blues scales, they don't feel like quote, quote, scales, right? They feel good. Gives your entire fretting hand to work out, all 4 of your fingers. Don't forget down up picking with your picking hand. Life is good. Okay, so along comes Eric Clapton. We got that riff down at the bottom of the page in slow motion. Okay, now he does it faster. I'll do a little bit faster too in a minute. But all those notes, even the open strings, all those notes, almost all those notes are directly from the A blues scale that you've been practicing up above. See my logic? You get warmed up, you play the scale for a few minutes or for as long as you want to, and then you dig into the riff down below. Okay, kind of fun, right? Listen to Eric Clapton do it. Keep working on it slowly. Get faster and faster until you can do it just like him. There you go, right? So the blues guide, the free blues guide, is full of pages like this. How about one more? And I think I can just scroll up. Ooh, look at this. Oh, you guys, I feel like so high tech. Okay, here's the same concept, but in the key of G. Notice the G blues scale. What do you see for frets? 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. You can just stay right there. By the way, this would be known as 1st position, right? Wherever you kind of plant your index finger is the name of the position you're in. In this case, the 1st finger, logically, is going to play any 1st fret notes. That's known as 1st position. Here comes the G blues scale, ascending, 1st octave. 2nd octave. And then back down. And down again. Imagine doing that for a few minutes. You get warmed up. Along comes Muddy Waters, the Manish Boy riff. It's a little bit modified from the original, but it'll get you going. Okay, if you were to ask me what's modified about it, I forget. I remember thinking to myself, well, I don't want the blues police to come and take me away. I mean, is he doing it with a slide? I forget. Bottom line is you can play what's written right there and you sound great. In fact, you could do that whole riff down the bottom of the page with your index finger. And it sounds great. Fun, right? Fun. Okay, so there we go. We're back. Okay, so before I say goodnight, this book is free. I'm proud to say I have given away 300 something copies of this book. Go for it. And like I said, there's a video that shows me playing all the stuff in the book. I think you'll dig it. How do you get that book? www.song-bike.com. Just scroll down. You'll see that picture and it'll say, you know, free blues guide. Life is good. All right, you guys. I think I did what I set out to do. I'm going to put a few links to stuff that we talked about, like the Amish Outlaws, in the description of this video right after I say goodnight. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to live stamp this, and I might put in a few more important details tomorrow morning. But I want to put a few links in tonight. So, yeah, man. All right, you guys, thank you for being here. Some of you are here for the first time. Welcome. Some of you are true song bikers, and this is maybe your 80th time. I don't know. This is live stream number 80. So I'm going to say a few good nights before it's time to go. Good night, Randy, Charlie, Harrison, Dawson, Scott, Rock Lobster. Vincent. I guess, Vincent, you couldn't stick around. Sorry, Vincent. Maybe you can come back again someday, Vincent. RB, Harrison. Who else? I want to thank our moderators. Moderators, you guys helping Vincent grow up a little bit, part of Vincent's education, maybe. Music fan, thank you for being here. And beginning guitar lessons, thank you for being here. Rick G, Harrison, who else? Joseph, who else is here? Wingo, Winston, RB, Tom, Subir, Chris, thank you for being here. Tasha, you guys. If you are watching this later, thanks for watching, man. I appreciate it. YouTube appreciates watching it. Sorry if you had to sit through ads. I know I have to sit through the ads too, and I timestamp it. I know. Don't forget to get yourself some SongBike merch. Don't forget to buy yourself a little something from SWEETWATER using the SongBike affiliate link. All that stuff is going to be in the description of this video. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for being here. I hope you have a great week. I hope you have chances to play the guitar. Hope you have some time, maybe tomorrow, like a Sunday, to just chill out and do whatever makes you happy. I'll see you guys next Saturday for another show. We'll have a good time. New play-along song. It'll be great. All right, you guys. Thank you for being here. Don't forget, email me some Patreon suggestions, info@song-bike.com. Put Patreon in the subject line. And I really look forward to hearing what you guys come up with. I appreciate your input. All right, you guys. Take care. I'll see you in a week.